This is a video response to the MMA Professor's video about Green Bay Packers fans. You say you live in Milwaukee, so I don't know if you've lived there your entire life or what your perspective is toward, other franchises other than the Packers. But I've lived in Wisconsin. I've lived in Washington, Texas, Maryland, Georgia. I've lived in Tennessee, Kentucky, overseas. Long story short on that is, when it comes to the local area, having fans of the local sports team be a little unreasonable in their analysis of their own team isn't something that's unique to the Green Bay Packers. Let me just get that out there right away. I lived in Texas during the 1-15 season, Troy Aikman's rookie season with the Dallas Cowboys. They were absolutely, it's like people wanted to slit their wrists. Oh my God. And they finally won the game against the Redskins, I believe it was. Anyways, I've seen other things. I remember when I was in Washington State, this was an 84, 85 time frame. They had a game against the Denver Broncos, who at the time was, a division rival of theirs, when Seattle was actually in the AFC. And they had a last-second field goal that won the game for Seattle. And the next day, one of the sports announcers said, "Did you watch those Seattle Seahawks walk all over those Denver Broncos last night?" It was like, if it takes a field goal to win the game at the end of the game, you really didn't walk all over anybody. In fact, if I recall, Denver probably outplayed much of that game. But I digress. So, having rabid fans in Wisconsin that are big fans of the Packers, it's not unique. The word fan itself means fanatic. So, that's where it derives it. Fanatic. You should be crazy about your team. When you say every game needs to be won, you got to win every game, or well, I've been a fan of the Packers since around 72. That's about the earliest memories I have of actually getting up and watching the games on television. I don't recall ever getting up and saying, they're playing the Cincinnati Bengals this week, so I think I'd kind of like the Bengals to win this one. Of course, if you're a fan of a team, if you're a true fan of a team, every game needs to be won. And I know what you're going to say, yeah, but you shouldn't be getting this outraged over if they lose and make excuses and everything. Well, I don't know which one would hurt me or hurt my feelings more, or something that I would worry about more. The fact that my team loses, or that there's fans that are a little crazy. Listen to you here at the end of your video.
It's the announcers who are biased. I get it. That's a great way to look at it. Green Bay Packers fans, biased Green Bay Packer fans, you are not sports fans. You are not football fans. You are succubus nut huggers, and it fucking pisses me off. You guys need to learn how to watch the game unbiasedly, because until you do, Green Bay Packers, you can fucking go to hell.
So the Packers fans need to get some perspective? Why does it bother you that much that you're going to get in the camera and get angry about it that much? I think that's more unreasonable than the Packers fans expecting their team to win, the team that they root for. The fans need to be unbiased? They should be objective? Why? Why? Dude, do you know, I was a fan, like I said, growing up through the 70s and 80s. Through to today, but those teams of the 70s and 80s in Green Bay, They had the 10-4 team in '72. I don't really remember that, but I do remember these 6-8, 4-10, 3-8-8 seasons in a row. They were just about to turn the corner when Forrest Gregg came to town, and then Infante came, and they had that 10-6 season, but they still didn't make the postseason. It wasn't until Favre got there that we actually started going to the postseason again. I mean, in the 70s and 80s, they went to the postseason once, and that was their 5-3-1 season, that strike year. I remember that. They played the Cardinals in the postseason and lost to the Cowboys. All those seasons of losing, it sucked. And for the fans at that time that accepted them as losers, there were many of those. They're the Packers, they're going to lose. But I still love them. Screw that. We should demand excellence from our sports franchises, if you ask me. And if you are just going to sit back and say, screw it, I don't care. I mean, if they lose and you're not a fan, being a fair weather fan, I'm not in agreement with that. But just to sit back and accept a loser, I don't think that's... You should demand excellence. I think it's part of being a fan. So I think you're exactly backwards on that. When people see their team lose and they complain about it, and I know it's not everybody. There are some people that can talk smack about the Packers, and when you said that they give excuses and all that. I understand that, but again, it's not unique to Packers fans. It just isn't. And if you think it is, you have to tell me where else you've lived to experience, other fans. Those quotes that you read in your video about the announcers sucking his cock during the Monday night game and all that, is that a Packer unique thing? That people would complain about how much airtime or press coverage Brett Favre gets? Oh my God! The whole time he was, when he was a 3-time MVP, back-to-back-to-back MVPs, and then years after that, there were people that would complain about how much airtime he got. The whole John Madden, Brett Favre relationship, Favre. So those were definitely not Packer fans that were complaining about how it's lopsided coverage of Brett during the game. That's not uniquely Packers fans. Now that he's not with the Packers, and you see a couple of comments about how the announcers were on his dick or whatever during the game, how do you even know those are Packers fans? I don't know. Maybe it was in a forum that said only Packers fans can post here. Let's hear your comments. But it's not unique to the Packers fans. Let me tell you that right now. As far as Brett goes, he's my favorite player of all time. No doubt about it. I love the guy because, again, I suffered all those years, and it was when Ron Wolf and Holmgren and Reggie White and Favre all showed up in Green Bay. Suddenly, they became legitimate again. They actually freaking started winning games. They won a Super Bowl. They went to back-to-back Super Bowls, 3 championship games in a row, all that good stuff. Now that Favre's gone, I still love the guy. But if I'm a fan of my team, and my team is playing a guy that used to be on my team, where should my loyalty lie? It should be with the team. Now, I'm not going to root for Brett to have an awful season. But if he did have an awful season this year, because he's playing on the Vikings, it's not going to shake me up too badly. But I do know some fans that actually take Favre's side in this whole thing that are Packers fans. To me, that's a little bit on the opposite side of what I would say would be, are you a true Packers fan if you are going to root for just the one guy that left, said he wasn't going to come back, and then he said, you know how all that stuff went. But I think it's more reasonable to root for the team over a player that used to be, even though he's one of the greatest Packers ever, I think it's more reasonable to be rooting for your team instead of Brett Favre. Anyways, so I'll end this for now and see if you respond. Talk to you later.